Hi, I'm Jessie, and this year I had the pleasure of taking a class at the University of Ottawa titled Advertising and Society with Dr. Strangelove. In this class, we learned a lot. We learned about societal factors and how they influence advertising. We learned about different life lessons in a way. Sometimes he would go off on tangents about life, and you would hear things that you wouldn't expect to hear from other professors. He was a lot more real in the way he approached things, and it wasn't a matter like point fact. It was a lot of like from the heart speaking. In this class, we wrote brand reports on research questions that we each chose. I decided to do mine on how different emotions that people feel impact how we view advertisements. I thought this was really interesting when I started off because my emotions are different than all those who surround me, and how different societal factors will affect my view of an advertisement versus like a male counterpart based on how men have been told to bottle their emotions, whereas females are seen as being more emotional. I learned that there's a lot of shock value in advertisements that I originally didn't pick up on. There's factors of sexuality that we've become so accustomed to and are so used to seeing that we don't even think twice about it. But the impacts that it has within our society are huge. It teaches a lot of life lessons, but it also teaches a lot of life standards based on a societal ideal of what everyone's supposed to be like. There's a lot of hypersexualization of women, a lot of men being shown in this power spot, which makes a lot of young guys feel like they have to be the alpha male, the top guy. So just these different elements of advertising, I think, have allowed us to grow up with this idea of what we are supposed to be. And we don't think about it because it's just something we are so used to seeing on our TV screens. And I came to the conclusion in my report that advertising does affect us emotionally. I remember commercials that I saw as a child, even now as an adult, that surprised me, made me sad, made me happy. And there is a use of music as well that makes people remember things. Just like a good example of this is like the milk commercials. Like there was always that background music, and everyone would like the commercial would come on TV and people would be like, that's the commercial. In my research project, I was able to use field notes that we had in class, and some of them didn't really pertain to my, or were specific to my project at all. But I'm still able to use them in a way, or kind of bend them to make them fit in with my project, which I thought was interesting because I was taking things that I would be like, oh, this wouldn't work at all, and I was like, oh, this could work if I do this, or I could take this from this and it would influence this. A great example of that is we were talking about societal factors, and like it does kind of chime into emotional aspect, as I said before, but we talk a thing about like dominance in our culture and how like white is the dominant, male is the dominant, and I didn't take that into consideration because I'm white, so I never looked at these different elements in advertising and went, oh my gosh. However, if I had a friend of a different race than me, they would see that same commercial and it would be a different emotional impact. So this class really allowed me to get outside of my bubble and see the world in a different way, and I think that's the coolest part about advertising in society.